let's talk about this trip. What is going on this trip? I'm basically just going out for a couple of days, out in the middle of nowhere. The way I like to do it, it's dispersed camping. So I'm up a forest road, just a couple hours from where I live. And the reason I've come up here is to just unwind after this stupid, crazy school year. Oh my gosh. It was crazy. It was so crazy. But also to test equipment, because that's the other thing that's really changed in my life is I've changed. I've shaken up a lot of logistical details. You can see I'm in a hammock right now. I have started hammock camping. Before I started hammock camping, I started sleeping in a hammock full-time at home because I have joint issues. Yay. Why do I have joint issues? Well, I mean, look, I'm getting older. I just turned 50 this year. And B, I have autism, and autism often goes along with joint issues. So I've always had joint issues ever since I was a teenager. Now they're worse because I'm old. Or not super old, but older. So I'm testing out equipment. I did a bunch of hammock camping. Hello, puppy. There's the puppy. He loves chewing on sticks, so he's in heaven here. That last trip, I was hammock camping the whole time. And I just got this cheap camping hammock off of Amazon. It was like 30 bucks or something. And I took the sleeping bag that I used to always camp with, which is, minus 20 rated sleeping bag. So that has been my go-to sleeping bag since I was in grad school. So why would I need to test equipment? Well, one thing that happened in the middle of that camping trip was we got some really serious thunderstorms, and I did not have a rain fly. So I wanted to test the rain fly. But the other thing is that minus 20 sleeping bag, it worked really well. It's so warm that it didn't matter that I didn't have an underquilt. But the thing about that sleeping bag is it's like ginormous. It was not meant to be compact. Even if you squish it down as much as possible, the thing is just huge. It's fine most of the time. It's fine for car trips. But what I really wanted was I wanted something compact. And that's because I'm going to be taking a couple of trips where I'm not going to have my car with me. And so everything is going to have to come on the airplane with me. And essentially, I'm just going to have to fit it into a backpack. So, obviously, I needed a smaller sleeping bag. So I got one, right? You can sort of see my sleeping bag here. It's a big Agnes sleeping bag that's rated to 20, which should be enough for most of my summer camping. So I actually tried that out. I took students on a field trip for the first time since before the pandemic. Like, we did a real field trip last month. That would be May 2022. I don't know when this video is going to get posted. And I decided to test out my equipment. So I took the rain fly out, and we got a fair bit of rain, and the rain fly worked okay with asterisk. But I was cold. And it was not below 20. It was not even below 30. My top was warm, my underside was cold, and so I knew I needed an underquilt. Like, I could not get away without an underquilt. So I now have an underquilt too. And I'll try and get that right here. I'll get some better shots later. So I'm testing that out. So where I am now, I'm, like I said, pretty close to my home, and basically southeast of my house. So I am south of Mount Rainier National Park. I'm north of Mount St. Helens National Volcanic Monument. If you look at the map and you see Packwood, I'm on one of those forest roads right outside of Packwood. So again, I'm trying out new gear, not just sleeping gear. I also got a really tiny compact camping stove. One of the things I'm testing out is I'm testing out food. So I have some freeze-dried meals, which I have not eaten. I want to say 1991 was the last time I actually had freeze-dried meals, when I did a longish backpacking trip. I'm going to make sure that my body can still tolerate freeze-dried meals, because I now have food allergies, and I think they work, but yeah. Also, I want to see what it's like calorically to see if I need anything to go along with it. The other thing I'm doing, I'm having regular grocery store food, but all of this grocery store food is not being refrigerated. Like, I don't have an ice chest with me this time, so I'm going to see how well that works. One of the problems with eating freeze-dried food is you don't get much fiber. I need veggies in my diet, and so yeah, I'm just trying to see how well it works to have like veg without refrigeration, because this is what I'm planning to do. Yeah, so I've got 2 trips coming up this summer. One in a little under 2 weeks. Actually, I'm leaving in 9 days, where I fly somewhere. The first place, I have a rental car, and I'll be camping out of my rental car. But like I said, everything that I have with me is going to have to go in my backpack. So it's got to be compact. The second trip, I'm not going to have a rental car. So things do have to really be compact. Those are 2 trips that I hope I can get on video, especially the second one is going to be pretty epic. The second one is my 50-and-a-half birthday trip that I've been planning for at least 5 years, maybe more. I've been saving for it for 5 years because this thing is way more expensive than my usual cheap road trips. You'll see what I mean. I definitely want to get this on video for posterity, if not for a YouTube audience. Again, I'm testing equipment, and I've tried to bring what I'm going to bring, with the caveat that I also have backups, right? If it rains too hard, like I said, I've got my car. I don't know if you can see right up there. And I can sleep in the back of my car. If this little backpacking stove doesn't work out, yeah, fine. I've got my other little 1-burner road trip stove in the back of the car. One way in which I didn't pack the way that I normally pack is I didn't bring the same clothes. I thought I was bringing the same clothes, but I forgot stuff. Like I forgot my gloves, which I'm definitely bringing with me if I'm going to be up at altitude. I also didn't bring my normal flannel shirts that you probably see me wearing a lot. I use those as a second layer over my shirt, under my jacket if it gets cold enough, and it's cold enough. So it's a little cool. But I do have something else that I brought just in case, and it is this Wise Owl Toasty Traveler packable blanket. So I will use that if necessary. I don't know if I'm going to need to bring that with me to wherever I'm going. That's one of my backup things to make sure I don't get too cold when I'm out here. The nice thing about that blanket, it's not just a blanket. It's kind of like sleeping bag material, you know, the nylon and then the same sort of sleeping bag filling. But it's just a blanket with snaps. And so you can snap it around you and make it into kind of like a poncho thing, which sounds great actually right now because I'm a little cold. And it's 3:30 in the afternoon. This is about as warm as it's going to get. All right, so the part I'm not sure whether I recorded or not is where I'm going. In a couple of weeks, I'm going to go to Colorado. So in case you don't know, I went to grad school in Colorado. I still have a sister who lives in Colorado. 2 of my boys live in Colorado. So I'm often in Colorado. I have tons of friends there. And in fact, one of my friends is getting married, which is why I'm going out. But as long as I'm going out there for one thing, then I have to do all the other things. And it is really convenient, given some of the stuff that's going on, for me to do a little camping. And so we'll talk about that in that video when it shows up. Where I'm going in August, again, my 50-and-a-half birthday trip. I won't tell you where I'm going to go. I'll let that be a secret. But it's going to be cool. But in both cases, for both of these trips, right, I'm going to be at reasonably high altitude. So The place I'm camping in Colorado, I think has got to be at least 8,000 or 9,000 feet in elevation, which is higher than here. So I don't know if this is the world's best test of whatever, but you know, we'll see. We'll see how cold I am tonight. And then the other place is lower altitude, I think. I want to say it's about 4,000 or 5,000 feet where I'm going to be camping, although I should double check that. And then, but it's at higher latitude. I'm going to be fairly far north, so that should give you an idea of where exactly I'm going. But like I said, test run. Test run in a place where it's easy to fall back on things, right? I have all the stuff in the car as fallbacks. And you know, worst case scenario, I can go home because it's just a couple hours from here. But for my long trip in August, right, that will not be a possibility. I am not going to have a car. And what can I say? I mean, once I get into the place, I am going to stay there for 3 nights. And there's not much I can do about it. So this is why I'm rigorously testing, because I don't want to be stuck in the middle of nowhere and be uncomfortable. It's not okay, right? So I will fine tune things. Worst case scenario, I will take my big puffy -20 sleeping bag with me. I don't know how I'm going to make that work, but I will make it work. Okay. So up here you see the forest road. There's Balana. And you can see we're pretty high up a mountain. I'm not sure what the elevation here is, but we were going to go higher up and we stopped because there was snow. So it is, when I'm filming this, it is June 13th, 2022. Here's my hammock with underquilt. That is a Wise Owl underquilt. It is rated to 40 degrees, which is not great. As far as underquilts go, it is cheap. I cannot afford a $200 underquilt. Maybe someday. All right. Here's my rainfly, and it is the Gold Armor rainfly. I do not have an Amazon Associates thing, but I will drop a link to this stuff in the description below. Now, after I took this out, I said the rainfly worked pretty well, asterisk. And the asterisk is that although it kept me completely dry, the stakes that came with it, when it got windy, and it really got windy one afternoon, they came up and they went flying out. So I wanted to get better ways to tie it down. And one of the things I got, this is great, I got these tensioners. I love these. So what came with I think I've got some somewhere. The rainfly came with these sort of things, kind of standard stuff that you get with tent flies and whatever. And you can use that to tighten things up, but it gradually slips over time. So we'll see how these tensioners work, but I will say it's so much easier to tighten this up. Let's go back down here. What you do with these is you run the line with tension on it through these 2 holes, and then loop it around whatever you're going to loop it around, which could be a stake. I have a stake up that way. And then you tie it off here, and then you can tighten it by just slipping it through here. And this just holds so much better. And these were cheap. They were really cheap. I love them. Okay. More campsite. There is a creek or a river or whatever down there. Yeah, we're basically camping on the side of a mountain. And it is cold. Like I said, it is cold. It's kind of morning, about 5 o'clock. We're far enough north, of course, that it is already light. Pouring rain. And let's talk about how I slept last night. The fact that I'm awake should say everything. Actually, I often wake up pretty early when I'm camping, but not normally this early. It's too dark to get my face on camera. You can hear the rain. the rainfly is working great. It's been raining steadily all night. Yeah, but how about my new sleeping bag? Well, I wasn't cold, but I wasn't warm either. So I didn't sleep very well. So I'm definitely taking my big, bulky sleeping bag with me to Colorado. I think that's the takeaway. I like to be very toasty when I sleep. Now, I was planning to stay here 2 nights, but I'm not a masochist. I want to be somewhere warmer where I can not have to huddle